Can we please stop fucking around? Just, like, generally speaking. Can we please stop fucking around? Hello. It's me. Back again. Same as it ever was. Checking all my notifications. I just got back home from an engagement, which is why stream started at a weird time. So I'm very of the devil. Cass isn't watching because I want to play this game. Valid. It's good. What was I saying? I'm scattered. I'm frazzled. I need to be Morgan, who's never been scattered or frazzled in her life, / lying. Good moment. Good moment. Oh shit, I'm not in Discord. Oh shit. Shit, fuck, shit. Okay, there we go. Ash is being a freak on Twitch again. No, I'm not. I'm being normal. Ash is being a freak on Twitch again. No, I'm not. I already apologized for that one. I won't apologize again. I have water. I have an apple seltzer. I have Morgan. I have a Twitch notification list is otherwise. When she on my devil. Perhaps. That was a sign of me opening my apple seltzer, by the way. I love abusing my mod powers. Shit, what was I saying? Shit. Nocturnal Sweeping, Limbus Company, comes out in, like, half an hour? Yeah, 35 minutes. And I'm not playing it as soon as it comes out. And you have to realize it's an act of great restraint on my part. It's a testament to how much I'm enjoying of the devil. I think this guy might be fucking around. I'm not. I'm just being normal. Let me take a sip. Sip taken. Anyway. Hi. Welcome to the stream. I'm gonna open Of the Devil now. I mean, it's already open, but I'm gonna knock TP Sweepy. I'm gonna put chat on my phone. Where are you? Chat. Where are you? No. I'm scared. There you are. I found you again. Chat on my phone. The game is open. I'm here. It's Morgan time. Hey girl. Don't find me. Okay. I don't know where I tried. I have Morgan. I have my sad, not my sad. I guess she's sad. I have my weird child. I have my other weird child. I have my weird aunt. Hey girl, your moment is so good. She got on my moment till I... Good morning to you too. Morgan has done things to my brain cells. I'm so glad that we have the same taste in games. There we are. Hello. I don't remember what I was doing. What's the chat log say? Okay, I see. We just told Sarah that we wanted them to lie to people. Why are being mean to Moomin? This episode is gonna end in a different word. It's because we're cool and funny? Great, I'm so glad that we have a good energy today. I also just got in from the chilly and windy, so I'm a little sniffly. We just got done talking to Sarah about how they should lie to people. And now we're gonna lie to people. Here we go. you sure about this? You have questions too, don't you? Right now, I'm just a little better equipped to get answers than you are. Okay, go for it. I'll make sure they're watching. Is the air quality at Noble headquarters kept up to state standards? What's that? All these Noble employees seem to have asthma. Was Father also working under such poor conditions? I like how crazy the energy is in this chat right now. I have rancid energy. I was just trying to write about my VSS, and it turns out it's hard to write about hallucinations. Seems reasonable. She got on my moment till I lie. They don't have asthma. Then why are they all carrying inhalers? Inhaler! Showing results for Adroxone inhalers. Inhaler, corporate use. First legalized in 2083, the stimulant sold under the name Adroxone has since become one of the most widely used drugs in the corporate world. As a Class 2 stimulant of least concern, employees of any corporation in good standing with the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight can have access to Adroxone without a prescription, so long as their HR representative feels it would be beneficial to their work performance. Workplace Adroxone, as it is sometimes called, is dispensed through biomonitor-enhanced inhalers that automatically detect overdoses and keep track of possible habit formation. Automatic safety levels may be adjusted at supervisor's discretion. Oh, sweet baby child. Unsubstantiated claims that Adroxone was first created as a purely recreational drug by the notoriously violent Skullhead Mafia caused enough of a stir that in 2083 a formal investigative committee was formed. Unfortunately, in 2084, an industrial hydrogen fuel accident resulted in the deaths of all 391 known Skullhead members, placing the investigation at an indefinite standstill. Yikes! Vapes aren't even straight anymore because of woke 90-degree inhaler instead. Yes, ma'am. She's right over here. Hey! Emma. I could make this joke even funnier if it weren't for Twitch too. Asthma inhalers awoke. I love that she appears in a beam of light. Yuri. I have to come with a voice for her. Shit. How do I come up with a voice for my Yuri love interest? Oh. It's you. Oh. It's you. Did I mess up? On the contrary. Who's Meg? Eyes wide. She's a DA. Quiet. Oh, Meg is in corporation. I see. Look at her brown hair and brown eyes, for sure. She succeeded spectacularly in getting Noble's ears perked up. Emma Rockford! Look at her! Yeah! Who's Meg? Sorry. They really have someone for every brand of Twitch, too. Date of birth, February 13th, right before Valentine's Day. I'm not the cyberpunk. I'm sorry. Height, 165 centimeters, blood type O positive, occupation, assistant DA, likes milk tea, white noise, and black lace, dislikes artificial sweeteners, home remedies, and ink stains, reads true crime and bodice rippers, best at getting the staff's attention, worst at deciding what to order. This profile is the same as it was before, unlike Morgan's. Didn't think I'd run into you here. Yeah, didn't think I'd be here either. But the powers that be think my presence sends a strong message to the Megs. So, bodice ripper, No, wait. What are you doing here? A few minutes later. I see. I'm sorry for your loss. I mean, Emma hasn't committed a murder yet. Yet! Thank you for saying that. And thank you, Detective Reyes, for your many kind words. This is Farah Reyes. Date of birth, October 19th. Height, 162 centimeters. Weight, 63 kilograms. Blood type A negative. Occupation, homicide detective, 3rd class. Not homicide, detective. Just homicide detective. Yeah, Farah dresses like an emo child. Would I be burned at the stake if I said Emma looks like a Twilight Sparkle and Fluttershy fan kid Kachinka? No. Likes chewing gum, sports drinks, biking. Just likes babysitting, audiobooks, manspreading. Relaxed when shopping for groceries. Struggles with remembering lyrics. Default status, do not disturb. We can't all be as talkative as you. Normally, quoting poetry would feel pretentious, but you were so genuine in your reading. Bite me. I don't know that there's a need for all that. Very mature, detective. Did you come up with that yourself? Oh, no, that's Kaguya's signature voice. Like, the pop star? I don't know what you're talking about. You can admit it if you do. Well, there's nothing to admit, because I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who that is. Wait, now you're saying you don't know who Kaguya is. She's the most famous. Showing results for Kagu_ya. Kaguya is the stage name, a singer-songwriter known for her powerful voice and her stage persona's intricately crafted lore. After releasing a blitz of chart-topping singles and a quadruple platinum album and a bevy of cultural reset music videos in just the last 3 years, she has come to be considered the leading living figure in the pop music and popular culture realm. Kaguya's official age is listed as 1,086 years old. She released her first single, Orbit, in 2083, which went on to peak at number 1 on the Billboard Top 100, the Rubicon Digital Singles Chart, and the Niate Music Video Streaming Tracker, making it one of the fastest-selling singles in history. Lore. Kaguya Hime is in this game. Personal details on the pop star remain scarce, and protecting her anonymity has become a core part of her fan culture. When a retired facial analysis expert claimed that her stage makeup was formulated specifically to make facial recognition on her impossible, a representative for a record company met with the press to clarify that she is simply a private person who wants her fans to enjoy the experience that is Kaguya's voice. Users also frequently search for Kaguya Lore Explained, Kaguya Iceberg Explained, Kaguya Lunatropic tour tickets, where to buy. I appreciate that they know that they're referencing Princess Kaguya. Princess of the Moon. Yeah, well, I just don't know who that is, so... Ma'am! Weren't you about to say something? Oh, well, I'm still surprised to see you here now, Morgan. Are you helping plan the services? Actually, the company will be planning Dr. Ashura's funeral service. Wouldn't his family want to take care of that? No. No? No. I see. Sorry. But if that's the case, why are you here, Morgan? Huh. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry to disrupt your morning. Hey, you're here for the same reasons every other student that got crawling around. Money. You're not wrong. There are a lot of annoying insects with annoying agendas scurrying around before my friend's body is even cold. But the honest truth is, I don't even know if David had a will. The company helped him manage his estate. Legal is probably already on it. Actually, judging by how much coffee that intern is carrying in the elevator, I'm certain they are. Right. So, if you're not here for the funeral or the reading of the will... Miss Starling asked me to come here, actually, on a matter unrelated to David's passing. An unrelated matter? That's convenient. Isn't it? But now that I am here, it's come to my attention that the police have made a determination in the case of David's death. And where did you hear that? Am I mistaken? No, you're right. They concluded that it was suicide. Can always count on her to be blunt. I was worried about that. Yeah, I'm sure you must be feeling... Because I'm going to have to contest that charge. What? The state has made a charge. I'm arguing against it. The hell are you talking about? The police believe David committed suicide. Suicide is a felony in this country, detective. It is technically a crime to commit suicide, yes, but we're not in the habit of bringing dead men to trial, especially not for their own murder, Morgan. No, not to trial, of course not. But there would be a preliminary hearing in a case like this. Noun, a court proceeding that considers whether there is sufficient evidence to go to trial. A preliminary hearing is a step in the criminal court process in which a judge or jury will evaluate whether or not there exists sufficient evidence to justify a trial. Between security systems, personal devices, biomonitors, IoT crimes, automated dependents, and mods, it is extremely rare in modern times for the people's evidence of a crime to be found lacking, making preliminary hearings somewhat of a formality that is frequently sidestepped without protest from the defense. Technically, as a formality, assuming the courts aren't busy that day, I'm afraid that on this occasion, I'm going to have to insist on formality. Yeah, well, you really don't have that much say in the matter, do you? With David gone, I have the only say, really. I am, after all, his criminal attorney. All that money and he needs his drinking buddy to be his attorney? Bullshit. I'm also skeptical, Morgan. It's a pretty serious conflict of interest to be your friend's defense attorney. You're absolutely right. It is a conflict of interest. And I would have said as much to him if I had the chance. What do you mean? I only found out that he wanted me to be his attorney today. After he died? How the hell did you miss that memo? Embarrassing, isn't it? But, to be fair, it was hidden pretty well. Oh, I didn't know you had an Android, Morgan. It's cute. Thanks, but it's actually David's. And it's technically my witness. Witness to what? 38 hours ago. That is, David Ashore communicated to me as a matter of record the following explicit legal intent. That in the case of any and all criminal charges brought against him by the state, his attorney would be Evangeline Morgan. Evangeline? Not me. I fucking love this song. Evangeline Reveal. Pa Muse. Filial piety. No, wait, seriously? Your name's Evangeline? Is your parents name you after a Christmas carol? Should we all be curtsying? It's not that funny. No, of course not. Nothing to be embarrassed about, Evangeline. Or do your friends call you Angel? I hear Kaguya's on tour, detective. Should I get you tickets? You could have your dad drive you, like all the other 15-year-olds. Hey. It feels like we're getting off topic. What were we just... I was telling you that David Ashore wanted her to be his criminal defense attorney. Imagine my surprise. An android's recording of a verbal expression of intent isn't exactly ironclad, Morgan. That's fair. And if we were going before an upper-level court, I would expect that to be open to all kinds of scrutiny. But we're talking about a preliminary hearing. A formality, as you call it. If he asked for representation, he deserves representation. It doesn't matter whether he's dead or alive. Am I missing something? What difference does it make? Not even an adjutant will be obtuse enough to sentence a dead man. No, there won't be a sentence, but the adjutant will render a verdict. And the verdicts have consequences even for the deceased. Is that what this is about? What's she getting at? If the court agrees that this was a suicide, that verdict will retroactively affect evaluations of the individual's mental health. Like, whether he was in his right mind or not? You know anything about estate tax law, detective? No. But I'm sure you'll be happy to educate me. More than happy. An individual found by a court to not be of sound mind can't very well give their consent to the lawyer drawing up their will. If his will is compromised, all of David's considerable assets would suddenly be thrown into legal limbo. In which case, the state would be legally obligated to come in and pick up the pieces. So this is just about his money. I'm almost disappointed in you, Morgan. Well, when you take into consideration all the factors, it's actually more complicated than that. For example... I love the duck! Never mind. No, Starling, you should speak your mind. All I mean to say is that while Dr. Ashore did have significant holdings in art, real estate, and intellectual property, he also, of course, owned a great deal of stock in numerous corporations, principally Noble. If he was ruled to not be of sound mind, and his shares were to end up acquired by the government... Quack. Quack. Noble would suffer a serious blow to its commercial image and its standing in the financial community. All of which is to say, there's a great deal at stake here. Not the least of which is the reputation of a man whom I was proud to call my friend. You're not buying this, are you? In case you haven't noticed, the city is working closely with Noble on this, and they're not gonna let you bring them any unwanted attention. Starling did her part. They're watching, and they've stopped trying to hide it. From here on out, it's a gamble. Noble Electronics already has unwanted attention. Why are you raising your voice? If nothing changes, by the end of the day, the whole country is going to hear how David Ashore committed suicide. By midnight, there will be questions about his competency. Concerns about why the brain inside every single Noble ad was built by an apparently unstable man. The shareholders will have nothing to do all Sunday but brood over that sad thought and all its disturbing implications. By the time the markets reopen on Monday, I would expect a great deal of volatility. That's so. I understand Noble's apprehension, of course, Emma. I just feel like right now, the fiscally conservative thing to do would be to not get in my way. So you've got your reasons, and Noble's got a lot to think about. But why should the district attorney's office devote valuable time to playing out this game of yours? Because they're certain they'll win. That goes without saying. Homosexual tension, homosexual tension, homosexual tension. This is a good image to just sit on for a minute. Look at their homosexual tension. Sorry, Jess. Sorry, Raves. The courts should have an opening at 6 p.m. I didn't have anything planned. Then it's a date. Wow! Okay. 0 straight characters, perfect game. Detective, would you get her clearance set up? Yes, ma'am. Updates every hour, yeah? You're out on a limb, Morgan. Better not linger. Here. Clearance for all the relevant sites and police firewalls. I like far homophobic dog stare raised sprite. You can interview and investigate with your authority as an officer of the court now. If you haven't already been doing that. Don't even think about being sloppy with discovery on this. Rockford might think you're funny, but I appreciate the warning, Detective Reyes. It's nice to know you care. I live to serve. And protect. Whew. Thanks for the assist, Starlight. Yeah, no sweat. Are all cops like that? Or are they more like that Detective London gentleman? Might think you are sexy. Most are like her. They are mostly like that, yes. They're all that intense? Yes. It comes from being short. And most cops are short? Yes. Right. Well, I'll see you at the courthouse tonight. Wait, one straight character. Jess! No, she's bisexual, don't lie. If you need anything in the meantime, don't be afraid to ask. Good luck. Both of you. What do we do now? Jess is a stealth winner minor character this chapter. Confirmed, yes. Well, I have a few options. I have access to the crime scene now. Probably the best place to start. I'd like to head over to the company building as well. To get me registered? Among other things. Either David killed himself or he didn't. But if he did, it's almost certainly his asshole corporate overlords who are to blame. In which case, I'll want to take my sweet time raking them over the coals. What are you doing? Nothing. What about Father? When can we see him? He'll be at the morgue by now. The medical examiner will speak to me now that I'm operating under the court's authority. But if I stop to flash paperwork at every nurse and security guard with nothing better to do than ask questions, I'll have to... What's that look for? You were Father's friend. Thank you, again, for reminding me. Aren't there people you'd like to speak with? Other friends who'd want to know? Bad news travels fast. I'm sure everyone in the country has heard about David by this point. But all that heartbreak shit did keep me pretty occupied these past few weeks, and I was never one to pry. Medical examiner, is she? Looking forward to it. I'm good on voices, but thank you, Kite. If there was someone who could tell me more about David's personal life over the last several months, it'd be worth the effort of finding them. Do you have someone in mind? Maybe someone he met recently? He spoke about becoming close with someone this year. A musician. Now that you mention it, there was a post something that David might have mentioned when we talked back in... I will begin a search. I've completed my search. I found nothing. Thanks for the old college try. Is that really the best you can do? Father was a private man, in person and online. With just a few letters and the fact that he was a musician, I'm afraid we don't have enough information to narrow down the results, Ad and I. No, we have plenty of information. We just need the right person for the job. What kind of person is that? Time, date, expunged. Precinct 112. Detainment room 1. And who would you even have called? I don't know. But I still should have gotten my phone call. Instead I got you. Friend! Brat, 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 brat. Who are you again? My latest guardian. New foster parent? Want me to call you mommy? I'm not really the motherly type. Hey, yo! We might actually get along. So, I've got good news and bad news. I think you're supposed to be on the set of the Off-Broadway Newsies tour, kid. I'm not your guardian. I'm your lawyer. You've been given a lawyer because you are being charged with a felony. Fascist pigs. Skipping school's a felony now? Hacking into a government database has been a felony for a very long time. That wasn't me. They have your keystrokes, your IP address, your login times, and the playlist you were listening to. That was for a homework assignment. Here's what I don't get. You got in, copied the data, could have gotten right out. State wouldn't even know they'd been robbed until they saw their passwords show up on black market clearance 2 weeks later. But you didn't get out. You stayed and made changes to their database. You robbed the bank, got clean money, then dragged a can of spray paint behind you all the way home. Drop the felony playlist. Why? Look, I didn't steal anything that wasn't already compromised. And the only data I edited was my own. So if anything, they should be thanking me for correcting their mistakes. What? Did they get your birthday wrong? My name. Name changes are only 2 pages of paperwork. You just need to fill out the form. Get a signature from a parent or guardian. So, what's the good news then? The good news was that I'm your lawyer, not your guardian. The hell? That doesn't count as good news. That's just a thing you said. Transgender. Don't be so sure. A lawyer's a lot better than a guardian. How's that? Parents, guardians, foster whatevers, they're all supposed to take care of you because it's the right thing to do. A lawyer is someone who always does what's best for you, no matter what, because that's how they get paid. So, how good are you at your job? That's just a thing you said. Hi. I love you so much. Allô, mon cœur. It's pronounced cœur. I know how it's pronounced. Allô, mon cœur. An archaic term for a dog. Did you mean cœur? Heart? And don't call me that. When I met Fran in that police station, I couldn't help but bet that I'd landed the jackpot. A valuable asset with a skill set complementary to my own personal and private pursuits. Someone who, after seeing the sweetheart probation deal I managed to land for them, would be more than happy to help me with whatever I need, whenever I need it. Always so cold, Fran. Can't I even get a good morning? Francois Snow. Date of birth September 20th, height 158 centimeters, weight 51 kilograms, blood type O positive, occupation student, hacker, but don't put that down, obviously. Likes haptic synth music, cinnamon toast. Dislikes teachers, politicians, adults, cops, alarm clocks. Values rarity, originality, history, vibes. Favorite subject? None. Worst subjects? Literature, social studies, athletics. No such thing. Nothing good's ever happened until the afternoon when people are actually awake. What I got instead was a compulsive liar with a horrific sleep schedule and a crippling addiction to poor time management. What do you want, Red? I can't call you up just for fun. Not if you don't want to get blocked. I need you to find somebody for me. Can't do it. I got homework. We both know the only time you ever do your own homework is during the class it's due. And I've got sports. You can't tell a basketball from a hockey stick. And I've got a bidding war to win. You're the only person on Earth betting on 70-year-old Gucci, and Air Jordan vintage reps, Fran. I think you can take your eyes off the auction block. So sorry, but I'm busy, so... I was hoping we could skip straight to the carrot portion of the routine, but if you insist on doing things from the top... Huh? I had an interesting conversation with your parole officer yesterday. Oh yeah? They've been really into the self prefixes lately. What? Self-motivation, self-actualization, self-help. Oh. And he thinks you could really benefit from it. You're lying. He's got all the workbooks ready. Coochie. Clearly your Saturdays are stacked, so I'll make sure your Sundays are full of... Fine, I get it. I need you to find a local musician. Musician? Knowing you, this would be Electro Swing or some other awful... Damn! Destroyed. Last name Powell or Parker? And that's all you got? They'll be in David Assure's circles. Wait, Assure? You're working that? This should be more than enough for a clever kid like yourself to go on. Don't go expecting any miracles. I need this soon. Within the hour, ideally. Within the... You know I have other clients, don't you? Other clients who actually pay you? On time? A musician. Find him. Okay. Even talking over the phone, you're very animated, Adonai. What do you mean? Just that you're very expressive when you talk to people? Of course I'm expressive. If I wasn't, how would anyone know what I'm thinking? I see. I'll keep that in mind as we... Wait, you really expect to tag along? Of course. Father was... Yeah, I know you want to. But why should I let you? Noticed. Because I am capable and helpful. Uh-huh. I mean it. I can take notes for you. And move heavy objects. And I'll learn to do more. How? I will subject every individual we encounter to a basic survey to procure biographical information on them while I gain experience in questioning. Subjecting them to torture. Yeah, behaviors. Morgan behaviors. Morgan brain. Tell me more, Morgan. Tell me more about how you express yourself. I can help, Adonai. How fast can you fill out forms? Fast. Congratulations, you're halfway to being a paralegal. Sarah! Date of birth, August 29th. 160 centimeters, weight 109.99 kilograms, blood type UAD. Occupation, unemployed paralegal? Likes martial arts, carbonation, collarbones. Dislikes static, blackouts, elevators. Talents, I'm good at lots of things. Skills, I'm not sure how skills differ from talents. I also like the 180-degree rule. Okay. My god, I like how her eyes glow scarily in this. Whoa. You coming? Right away, Adonai. 11:45 a.m., July 1st, 2086. Noble Employee Housing Building. Platea. Penthouse. Dining room. Pretty quiet elevators, huh? Dining room. You could have taken the next one. I'm good at lots of things. I'm just not sure how skills differ from talents is one of my favorite jokes. Yeah. It's a busy building, detective. Can't hold up everyone else on our account. Anything you'd like to grumble at me before I start? Don't touch anything. I don't care that you're wearing gloves. I have been to crime scenes before, you know. Long before the police get there, in many cases. Look, Rockford asked me to not get in your way, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna bend over for you. Do you at least have the autopsy report? No. Are you seriously? I don't. She doesn't? The report should have come in hours ago. It wouldn't take this long unless the cause of death was still... Then I'd settle for a summary of the preliminary findings. An emergency call was made shortly after 8 p.m. last night via the home security system. Emergency medical services had a VTOL in the air within a minute. They landed on the penthouse's helipad at 8:08. Dr. Ashore was found unconscious with low blood pressure and a weak heartbeat. He wasn't breathing. In-flight auto triage administered artificial CPR while in transit to Gatefield Memorial. He was declared dead a few minutes after being taken to the emergency wing. I see. I was really being plagued by I know that I know someone named Adonai. Who the fuck am I thinking of? And it was an NFL wide receiver. Chalk jump scare, self-inflicted. I think the conclusion is Morgan plays American football. I think the conclusion is Dr. Ashore was Jewish. And the cause of death is... being investigated. Make an educated guess. He stopped breathing, so they gave him oxygen. His heart stopped pumping, so they had the machines take over. His brain activity dropped to 0. And there wasn't anything else they could do. It was poison, wasn't it? What kind? You don't know, do you? Ah, they don't know either. Like I said, ma'am, we don't have the autopsy report yet. Why are you certain it was poison, Adonai? Couldn't it have been an accidental overdose? If he had overdosed on a commercial drug, even a pre-med student would have spotted it on the hospital's intake screening. They would have been able to pump his stomach, neutralize his bloodstream, and he would have lived. But he didn't live. So, it must have been something deadly, a compound designed solely to kill. A fast-acting, deadly poison that causes respiratory failure. The list can't be that long. Even just through process of elimination, the medical examiner should have identified it by now. Unless... I don't know, pre-meds are pretty stupid. You suspect a designer drug, don't you, detective? Why is it you're only quick on the uptake when it suits you? Nothing else makes sense, given what we know, and what we don't. But the CDCA decriminalized and cataloged all recreational drugs. Showing results for Contraband Decriminalization Acts, a series of laws passed in the 2060s that decriminalized all narcotics use and established the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight to administrate the production, licensing, distribution, and taxation of drugs across the country. Overwhelmed by civil unrest and eager to replenish government coffers, the CDCA were intended to reduce the backlog of criminal cases across the country and provide much-needed tax income, while also incentivizing immigration with the promise of amnesty. In what was considered a domino effect, other major nations around the globe passed comparable laws to build up their own depleted war chests and revitalize their local economies. The so-called white wave of global amnesty overturned the international drug trafficking market in just a few short years. The gray wave followed soon after as money-starved criminal organizations waged economic and literal war against multinational corporations for dominance of this new gray market. Fierce competition for government licenses to produce classic narcotics emerged alongside a race to develop new, more powerful designer drugs and to monopolize on their sale and in the months it would take for the government to identify and legalize them. While rates of addiction and overdose deaths have dropped since their peaks in the last 2 decades, the dangers associated with untested designer drugs and drug distributors' eagerness to earn new customers has continued to fuel debate over the legacy of the CDCA and the white wave as a whole. Taking a sip. Sip complete. I guess you aren't entirely clueless about politics. So whatever father overdosed on should have been in the hospital's database. You need to update your definitions. You're confusing designer drugs with recreational drugs. Define designer drug. Noun, a custom-made recreational drug, typically psychoactive. In the literal sense, designer merely denotes any drug that is custom-made as opposed to mass-produced, typically outside of normal pharmaceutical industry standards. In common parlance, however, designer drugs, DDs, deeds, DEDs, are illicit narcotics formulated to produce a recreational high. While the CDCA and the white wave that followed it legalized and taxed virtually all known narcotics, it did so alongside extensive documentation and study, and those laws could only apply to drugs that already existed. Any drug patented after the white wave must go through approval processes and registration with national and international authorities, a time-consuming process that can take anywhere from 6 months to several years. That time lag creates a window of opportunity wherein organized criminal groups can step in to meet the demand for a narcotic. What has become known as riding the wave is the new normal for the international drug trade, pitting mob chemists against corporate laboratories in a race to develop newer, more powerful, and more easily habit-forming drugs and cornering the market on them before legislation catches up to them. Users also frequently search for, is Nerve legal yet? Best New Deads 2086. Nirvana designed by who? What is the difference? Recreational drugs are decriminalized and sold through pharmacies after years of testing and mountains of paperwork, while the average designer drug was invented last week in a 19-year-old line cook's bathroom on the other side of the globe. Hospitals can't know the proper countermeasures for an overdose of a drug that didn't exist 48 hours ago. I came across makeshift labs all the time when I was a uniform. The equipment's cheap and widely available. Black market cooks, gray market peddlers, and white-collar lobbyists all chasing each other's tails in a long line to find the next big hit. CDCA didn't change shit. More people die from ODs than ever before. Only difference is, it's their families finding them in the living room and not beat cops finding them on street corners. Real comforting, I'm sure. If it wasn't you talking, I'd say that was a criticism of law enforcement. Not law enforcement. Just a law. Assuming it was a designer drug, that would certainly make things more complicated. For the insurance guys, maybe. For us, whatever he used to do it, he still killed himself. Or didn't kill himself, if you insist. They're making drugs in Dagestan apartment blocks you couldn't even imagine. I'm going to take a look around now. Yeah, sure. Make yourself at home. What's that face for? I thought that there would be an outline. An outline? Around where they found Father? Like in the movies? Like in film? Connect to the police's network and bring up their ARCS file. Augmented reality crime scene. I see. There is an outline. And so this is where he died at the hospital. This is where the medics found him. And it's the sensors and cameras they were wearing that create the basis for this ARCS? They didn't realize they were walking into a crime scene, but their body cams gathered data all the same. Where do we start? You can start by following behind me and trying to be as quiet as possible. I'm starting to get a feel for when she's pouting, even without looking. Yay! Body. It says here that when the medics arrived, he was on the floor, face up. Does that tell you something? I love her little mimic face. Freak. Hey, if you were going to drink a glass of poison, would you be sitting or standing when you did it? I find it very difficult to speculate on that hypothetical scenario. Face up, ass down, high off my tits. The seat by his body is pulled out. If he was seated when he lost consciousness, I would expect to find him slumped over on the table. But he wasn't found slumped over. No, he wasn't. And if he had been standing when he lost consciousness, I would think he would have fallen forward, or at least collapsed less neatly. So, what can you conclude from that, Adonai? Only that I'm missing something. A chessboard, and a datapad with a series of characters on it. E4, C5, NF3, E6, D4, CX, D4, NX, D4. This is... algebraic notation. Was he studying an old game or playing against himself? His arms are in wild positions for an unconscious person to fall into, by the way. Yeah. It's face up, ass down, high off my tits. Black has checkmate in 40 moves. Wow, a robot that's good at chess. We ought to put you in a museum. But I'll take your word for it. What do you mean? Do you not play Adonai? No, especially not against David. Well, that is to be expected. Anyone who challenged Father to a battle of wits would naturally grow tired of losing. Every game starts the same. Each player has the same pieces, the same moves, the same options. It's a true test of wit, strategy, and forethought. To me, it always seemed too... boring? Too fair. The smarter player wins every time. And that is something you take fault with? Of course. How's a gal like me supposed to win a game like that? Okay, Morgan. Little freak. Morgan is such a freak. I didn't talk about this much last time, because I was busy reading. But I've just been enjoying thinking about Morgan's everything. Kakagurui. Can Sarah play Go? I'm sure she can. You can't lie to win in chess. You can if you're cool. But at this point, I don't know why... I don't know whether it's just reflexive that she's doing this, like, look how stupid I am thing. Because she's really not around anyone, like, actually at this point. She doesn't do it for Reyes anymore. Reyes even points it out. It's like, you know, why are you only stupid when you want to be? That's actually my genuine issue with chess. I agree with Morgan so much. Yeah, Reyes points it out. She's not really doing her stupid thing around anyone. She doesn't do it with Jess, she doesn't do it with the detectives, she doesn't do it with Emma. But she does it with Sarah here for no reason. And I don't know whether that's because she's just, like, being weird and, like, grief-stricken, or whether she's just, like, doing it reflexively anyway. Uncertain. What is that? Look at this. It's because she's a freak? She is. I always admired this view. Buildings green with reflections of holograms and sunlight, and their shadows obscure all the run-down, rotting parts of town. Maybe the view's secondary. Maybe all anyone really wants is to put as much distance between them and the street level as possible. I think she's being condescending. It's my read. Maybe. Is it possible that a witness could have seen something through these windows? Not through these windows, no. David installed wide-spectrum auto-tint in all his homes, all his cars. I didn't know that. Well, you wouldn't notice unless you were viewing the penthouse from more than... Why did he care so much about his windows? I don't know. Is Morgan's friend? One chair knocked over, probably where David was sitting. And one chair pulled out. A party of two. He never cared much for socializing, but he enjoyed hosting. Contradictory guy. Better take a closer look. 2 cups. One empty, knocked over, and one mostly empty. These look cheap. Did his guest bring them? I've seen them before, in the basement liquor cabinet. He kept these lying around? I knew he'd be gifted those crystal glasses I got him. Ark says there's nothing foreign in the upright one, so it can't have been poisoned. Results are inconclusive on the other cup, however. Looks bone dry. Must have been nothing but fumes left by the time this was considered a crime scene. Just not enough there for them to test. Inconclusive could mean... Inconclusive means inconclusive. That's all. Cheer up and read me the results of the fingerprinting. Father's prints are on both cups as expected. But there are someone else's on the upright cup, so someone else must have been with him last night. Slow down. All that proves is that someone else touched the cup. Doesn't tell us when they did it. And since we don't know who the prints belong to... Adonai, why don't we know who the prints belong to? Are the prints flagged as unidentified, or... No. There's space for a name, but the field is black. Shit. Am I already that late to the action? Detective Reyes. Yeah. There's a second set of prints on the cups. Is there a form you'd like me to sign? Doesn't matter how nicely you asked. Sometimes people just can't answer. You should know that damn well, Madam Counselor. I was afraid you'd say that. I don't understand, Adonai. What does this mean? It means that whoever those prints belong to has very proactive representation. Those prints belong to a witness, as you've guessed. You're more than welcome to their testimony. But their identity is... The department is being very considerate of the witness's privacy out of respect for their time and appreciation for their cooperation. Fine. Forget the name. That easily? Subpoenas are always an option, but I'm short on time. I know what a subpoena is. I'm taking a sip. Sip taken. A court order compelling attendance or evidence. A legal order issued by the state on behalf of the prosecution or the defense that compels the addressed party to give testimony, provide information, or turn over evidence. Failure to comply with a subpoena will result in being charged with contempt of court. Subpoena. What did the witness have to say for themselves, detective? To paraphrase, they came to see Dr. Ashur last night. The two of them talked, and they had a drink together. Then the doctor got sick, so they activated the emergency system from the panel in the kitchen. The EMTs came and took them both to the hospital. Ashur's condition got worse. All of the witnesses' vitals were normal. The witness had their vitals taken, then there should be a record of their admission at Gatesfield. And that's it. I'm guessing you didn't just take all of that on faith. Penumbra's set up in most of the rooms on this floor. Everything the witness told us was corroborated by the building's own surveillance system. So yes, we can guarantee that the witness never put anything into Ashur's drink. I'm guessing that I can't have the keys to the penumbra, can I? Not until the witness's lawyers are done reviewing it. Lawyers? Plural. I don't have time to trade jabs with the law offices of Johnson, Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. Say, how about I give you their business card? The law offices of Kochler, Gustav, Prince and Prince. I was close. No way I'll be getting any client information out of them directly. If all you bloodsuckers want to get together and tear each other apart, text me before you start. I like to watch. Yeah, I bet you like to watch. What? What does that even mean? Prince and Prince unfortunately rock, though. I don't know. Needed a moment to think. Okay. So, that was it? One chat, one peek at the cams, and you've already eliminated them as a suspect? Look. They were searched. They didn't have any poison, any drugs, not even a stick of gum. You see why Morgan, I understand. Even if they somehow did have poison on them, the camera footage confirms they had no opportunity to use it. They drank from the same bottle as the dead man. As far as the department's concerned, they were nearly the second victim. But they aren't dead, or even ill from the sound of things. So, you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand, then poured the both of them from the same bottle? A safe bottle? Jesus Christ. Plastic cup that David Ashore was drinking from when he died. Forensic analysis shows patches for Singh Prince's saliva, but toxicology says the tests have proved inconclusive. Too much of the whiskey was drunk and or evaporated. And that's what the evidence is telling us. There's nothing in the bottle or the witness's cup. A bright cup. Plastic cup with a small amount of whiskey left in it, found upright on the dining table at the scene of the crime. Saliva and fingerprints match an unknown individual, contains no traces of foreign elements. Lukewarm whiskey out of a plastic cup. Gotta be vile. But after drinking from his cup, a cup he prepared himself, he fell ill and the witness didn't. And Ashore died with a foreign substance in his body. An unidentified foreign substance. Suicide by poison. I get that you were close, and the simple explanations aren't all that satisfying, but that's life. One last thing. You just said he prepared his cup himself. Did you see that on camera? He left the parlor to get the drinks, and came back with his already poured. The witness says he got them from the basement. The witness says that, not the cameras? There's no cams in the lab, or the basement. That seems like a security hazard. Why would Noble not set things up more carefully? Well, because he was developing an unauthorized artificial intelligence in his basement. It's intentional. If cams of his lab ever got hacked, outsiders could steal his IP and kick Noble's monopoly to the curb. Right. David did complain about Noble's weird protocols for combating corporate espionage. At least we can take comfort in knowing that Father wasn't alone when he died. Yeah, that's worth investigating. Witness testimony. Statements made by the singular witness to David Ashore's suspected poisoning and death corroborated by video evidence. The witness arrived at 7:30 p.m. The witness spoke with David Ashore in his parlor before he left to retrieve liquor from his basement at 7:36 p.m. Upon returning at 7:38 p.m., the two of them continued speaking while they both drank. He was building a Metal Gear down there. David Ashore felt lethargic and disoriented shortly after 8 p.m. David Ashore lost consciousness at 8:03 p.m. EMS were called from the emergency console in the kitchen at 8:04 p.m. David Ashore and the witness were taken to Gatesfield Memorial Hospital at 8:08 p.m. Okay. Spilled alcohol. The ARC shows how it looked last night before it evaporated. No foreign substances in the puddle. It's clean. So, does that mean wherever the spill came from must be clean as well? I.e. the cup? Whiskey found spilled on the dining room table. After evaporating for most of the night, there's little left to test. No foreign compounds have been found, but the results are deemed inconclusive. Rose River Whiskey, 12 years old. You recognize it? Sure. He was more than partial to the brand. It's a good brand, only a bit overpriced, which is the bargain of a lifetime in David's world. It appears that the police have already tested its contents. No foreign matter present, was their conclusion. Is it possible that the police missed the poison? No. Even if they can't identify the poison, they can detect its presence by comparing samples of the whiskey to a bottle off the store shelf. So we can eliminate the possibility that the bottle of whiskey was poisoned. Bottle of rose whiskey found on the dining table at the scene of the crime. Forensic analysis shows no foreign elements or toxins, known to be a brand favored by the deceased. We'll have to find our smoking gun elsewhere. That whiskey is 100% this country. Password locked, but already cracked by the police, it seems. All the docs were take-home safe, nothing spicy. When was it last used? 7:48 p.m. Still reading work emails even a few minutes before he committed suicide. Morbid. There's a lot of messages marked priority that breadcrumb their way back to an article. Yep, it's this one. Oh, we didn't actually read this one before, we just saw the headline. War android blood saves soldier's life. In a stunning and heroic episode, one of our nation's brave soldiers had their life saved by a noble android, and in a way that no other competitor's product could. A brave private, name withheld, was wounded during a military operation, whose exact nature and location is currently classified. Bleeding badly and far from the nearest triage station, he was carried to safety by his fellow freedom fighter, an Animate 16 Enforcer, one of the few warm androids being currently tested out by the armed forces. But the android didn't just sit there and wait for evac, it opened up its own arteries and pumped life-saving UD, universal donor, synthetic plasma into the young man's veins, stabilizing him long enough from the breach of military hospital. I have no doubt he'd be dead if there was any other android fighting alongside him, said one commanding officer who asked not to be named. Private name withheld is a mash pit, that's good. I always thought Noble was only good at making ads that look good. Now I know they've got something inside them that no one else can compete with. The story brings a well-deserved shot in the arm to Noble's stock prices and market share. With this one heroic moment, Noble's warm androids have proven themselves to be worth their price tag and then some, and people in the capital are paying attention. It's certainly an interesting idea, Senator Mathing said when asked about committing to a military contract for Noble to provide the armed forces with war models. This story's got people talking. If we just ignored our constituents' feelings on this matter, we'd be neglecting our duty as politicians, and I know none of my peers would ever try to put a price on the life of one of our soldiers. While additional details for the incident remain closely guarded, the net is already ablaze with talk of, "Oh damn, you're not logged into this device. Why don't you pop your user details down below and enable Chrome so you can get the user experience you deserve?" This is that article I've seen going around, that they're going to highlight in this menu annoyingly until I click on it. But why would Noble have it marked as priority? Starling said they weren't in any rush to pat each other on the back over it, even though they had won themselves a real prize. They now have the excuse they need to pressure the military into a contract for warm androids. Can't dismiss the expensive upgrade as unnecessary now that it's saved a soldier's life. This time next year, there'll be pink oxidizing fluid being spilt all over the globe. Okay, table done. What up? Police androids monitoring the scene. Could almost mistake them for the real thing, the way they stand there trying to look important. Like an indoor dog taking its first trip to the park. Pardon? Why are you looking at it like you've never seen an android before? Because I haven't. In person. They look like McAfee? Okay. David didn't even let you have a mirror. Brutal. Just scan its gin if you're that curious. Unless that's considered too forward or whatever. Seems like that's everything critical on this side of the room. Which leaves the kitchen. You said there's camera footage of the dining room showing David and his guests? What about in here? Only camera in the kitchen is the one mounted on the call terminal. The console took a snap image when the witness ran in to contact emergency services. Metal. Gear. May I see it? Not unless you scrape the witness's face off the pic first. Don't tempt me. David's fridge. Normally, I wouldn't go poking in the pantry at a crime scene, but this was a poisoning. Some white wines chilling in the drawer. Some real cheap liquor stuffed in the icebox. Old habits. Rays, you said he left the parlor and came back with that whiskey from the basement? Huh? That's what the cams show, yeah. There's plenty to drink right here, and unlike the cabinet downstairs, it's actually cold. He must have wanted Rose River in particular. What's that look for? You hungry? I am an android. I do not get hungry. Are you being sarcastic? Only mostly. I thought you said you required organic nourishment? I do ingest organic substances, but that doesn't mean I experience hunger as you do. So, when you don't ingest organic substances for a long time, you... I become tired. What a great feature. And when I'm done digesting, I don't need to know. I become tired. I like when she's proud of herself. And when may I have hot dog? Give her hot dog. Messy workspaces, but a pristine kitchen. David was a good cook, but only for others. Unless he had a guest, he'd happily eat instant ramen and protein bars for all 3 meals. Or 2. Or 1. No signs of food prep to be found. Not so much as a cheese board. So whoever this guest was, they must have shown up unannounced. 3 unwashed dishes and a single glass. Rays, these dishes haven't been scanned for prints yet. And I just assumed you might want to do your job. Yeah, there are prints. Most match the victim. There's also... Hey! Don't sneak up on me like that. All I did was walk over to you. You knocked over the salt, Adonai. I was focused on the task at hand. Didn't realize tunnel vision was a selling point on your mod. Adonai, the salt. As I was saying, the witness's prints are on that glass. That glass in the sink? They were drinking from cups in the parlor. Did you see a glass on camera? No. So when did they touch this glass? The salt. Bitch, the salt. A glass of water found in the sink of David Assure's kitchen. Bears the DNA and fingerprints of the unknown witness. No trace of any poison. You need to toss it over your shoulder. The salt. Witness must have thought about giving the guy some water, but he would have just choked on it if they tried. What, you think this glass was the murder weapon? It's bad luck, Adonai. Whacked him on the back of the head so fast and went between video frames? That's genius! You should go through the footage frame by frame to prove your theory. Mature. It's bad luck. A salt shaker that was accidentally knocked over during the investigation. The whole cap fell off and spilled salt all across the kitchen counter. An element of bad luck, according to some. Can't look at the salt. Bitch, the salt. The salt. Bitch, what else am I supposed to be looking at here? Oh, I thought I already moused over this. This is where the emergency call was made. What time did the call go out? 8:04 p.m. Before you ask, the witness of the parlor at 8:03 p.m. Not enough time for him to alter the scene. I wasn't going to ask that. When did the medics arrive? 8:08 p.m. Remember? Hell of a response time for a penthouse. Private EMS came by air. My good friend Sum, she's from the basement. Yeah, they landed on the VTOL pad you saw outside. Took them to Gatesfield. The very best, if you can afford it. Looking around here, seems like he could afford a lot. He got his insurance through his employer, just like most people. Caduceus Executive Plan 4 isn't like most people, counselor. David Assure's health insurance policy with Caduceus, paid for through Noble Electronics. Includes private EMS services on standby. Caduceus only offers 3 levels of employer-provided plans that outrank it. Yeah, 4 minutes is crazy. He had executive level? Not like most people at all. A Penumbra security console located inside David Assure's kitchen used to contact emergency services when he fell unconscious. A private emergency service was considered at 8:04 p.m., and medics arrived at the helipad outside via VTOL at 8:08 p.m. Said private emergency services contracted through David Assure's Caduceus Executive 4 insurance plan. Yeah, having EMS on standby is crazy. You've now had the chance to survey the crime scene. Yeah. So, do you think you know what happened? Detective, is his body still at the hospital morgue? You know, where that person that Kite thinks is hot is. Yeah, he's at Gatesfield. Given the time, I imagine they're on standby in the air. Yeah. Along with 100 noble megs who've all called dibs. Hey, yes, you said it. Then I'll just have to cut in line. Sarah, get me a ride to Gatesfield Memorial. What? You can do that, can't you? I can. But I need your payment information to get started. Yeah? Okay. Understood. On my way down. Got it. Sync complete. Set pickup for 10 minutes should be plenty. The crowd down there seems to have gotten quite large. 10 minutes to reach the pickup spot may be an ambitious target, Adonai. How bad can it be? 12:21 p.m., July 1st, 2086. As I approach the lobby's exit, put the salts, Adonai. The building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger, but there's something else happening out there. The energy's not panicked, yet, but it's creeping up on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? The hell's got them all so excited? Adonai, what does that symbol mean? In this rabble? Probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with a bullet hole. Oh, shit. I don't know. It's probably nothing. Based on net associations, it appears to be a symbol for the Heartbreak Killer. No! Wait, how is this associated at all? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol? Or a following? Or these... whatever these people are. See, I assumed that we're always going to be investigating murders that Morgan did. And so I was surprised that we weren't investigating a murder that Morgan did. But if it still all comes back to Heartbreak... But how? Like, why? I mean, I know they'll explain it to me in about 5 minutes, but like, how? But why? Also, this is a good shot. And why the hell would they be outside David Assure's apartment? 'Cause Noble's trying to cover up the truth. They are? Those Megs in there are scrambling to shred every document they can. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try to catch them when they go to dump the scraps. Sarah, what are you hoping to find? Proof that Assure was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle? On Heartbreak? Hang on, I want to count the symbols that are on this backdrop. Sorry, too late. Noble doesn't want the world to know that the A-16 is sentient and homicidal. 3 so far? Yeah. You think that Heartbreak is an android? You think whoever did all that was human? Yes. Noble's advanced prototype went amok and started killing. Started killing random people. 2 here. Don't be a lamb. It only looks random. There's a clear pattern, as long as you're smart enough to see past bullshit. Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? stop engaging. Smart kid. She gets it. She's asking the right questions. What the hell are you talking about? No way those victims weren't related. It's gotta be deniable ops. Noun. A fictional designation for actions whose very existence have plausible deniability. Deniable is a fictional classification for clandestine state actions that need not be taken responsibility for because plausible deniability and military disinformation efforts create enough confusion that every party involved, even the victims, can spin the outcome to suit their own needs. No such designation exists. Deniable ops are a common recurring concept in online conspiracy theories, often used to wave away questions about why supposedly explosive events are never reported on through the media or addressed by world governments. It is also commonly claimed that deniable ops make ample use of private military contractors in order to further distance governments from the political ramifications of their military actions. Stream Elements, are you seeing this shit? Conspiracy theories are no laughing matter. If you're worried that someone you know might be being indoctrinated or spreading misinformation themselves, you can report them to the state in our non-confidential portal here. They must have all been in Diob together before getting their records bleached. Then, as soon as they've outlived their usefulness. What are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Warm android's so perfect no one can tell the diff. A bullet to the heart's the only way you can kill those other over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion. I see. Stop seeing, start moving. These people are insane. Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you can be the cyberpunk without ever thinking for yourself? The fuck does be the cyberpunk mean? A mythologized countercultural icon or way of being. Originally a term coined in a short science fiction story and later having grown into a genre all on its own. Cyberpunk or cyberpunk historically has referred to a counterculture centered around the themes of underdogs resisting powerful corporate and government forces through digital guerrilla warfare. While the genre has persisted to modern times and evolved in numerous ways, over the last 2 decades they've taken on new meaning as a kind of mythologized way of being for the adolescent or disaffected to aspire to, a code of conduct that emphasizes anti-authoritarianism, community organizing, corporate disengagement, and the socio-economic consciousness. The so-called singular cyberpunk has become the 21st century man without a name, a wanderer with their own rule of law. Cultural critic Simon Essentia summarized the appeal as thus: there's no such thing as a 21st century hero. Is it any wonder the most vulnerable among us turn to the past for guidance? Users also frequently search for, "Get ready with me, Cyberpunk," the 99 Man explained. Are co-ops illegal? You think it's a coincidence victim number 6 was working on Arco crops? They're putting something in the food! And those people, heartbreak. This is a goddamn embarrassment. The hell am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down? What about you, Adonai? What do you think about this heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. Should be caught and sentenced like any other murderer. But they must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have. Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions! And yet, there's only one heartbreak. So you think that they were just born that way? That's my guess. That's unsatisfying. Sad. I don't see why it would be. If heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. If heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people have to ever worry about turning out like them. That kind of predestination. It means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. The state can make them take responsibility. As soon as they catch them. You make it sound so trivial. They're a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Just? If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years and about 11 months. in order to have killed 413,789 people. You did that in your head? I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years. But what is the significance of that number? Deaths within 18 months of the Blakefort industrial disaster. I love Morgan so much. Morgan being a freak, Morgan being a freak, Morgan being a freak. Morgan's weird self-hating complex. Congestion ahead. We're currently limiting traffic related to this particular search due to a large number of edits coming in from net addresses outside your country's borders. We're proud to fight alongside Variable User Country in combating disinformation by foreign actors like those in Variable User Adversary Latest. You can read more about how and why this collaboration works here. Tired of running into slowdowns? So are we, but maintaining a secure data border takes resources. Contact your representative and explain why you think the national data security budget needs to be expanded using our Easy Right form here. User Adversary Latest is so funny. I love Morgan's weird self-hating complex. Morgan's so weird. Morgan's such a freak. I fucking love Morgan. She's on some Otis shit, not to be like, I should be playing Limbus Company right now, but in this sort of like, let me argue against myself in this weird way. Murderers are universally bad and should be caught, just born this way, serial killers aren't actually that bad though, because really the enemy is the state, but also whoever's doing this has to be like a psychotic, individual with no moral. She's such a freak about this. Like, why is she like that? I mean, I do know why she's like that. It's because she's a mentally unstable individual. I say this lovingly. But like, times that number by 2 for the injuries. Tack on another 183% for the birth defects. 413,000 dead. And there wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error, some shoddy welding, and time. So you think that heartbreak is nothing, by comparison. Perhaps that is the problem, then. I think she's fairly mentally stable, actually. I think it's just unstable when she's playing a character and being Morgan. Yeah. Not to be an existentialist. I think Morgan is an existentialist nightmare. I was saying this to Ivy the other day, by which I mean yesterday. I think Morgan is an existentialist nightmare. She's like, the existentialist proverb is that you are what you do. But Morgan has all these strange layers to how she interacts with other people. And so, at a certain point, like, the degree to which if she's mentally stable, she's only mentally stable because she gets to go out and kill people occasionally. Like, the nicest person you know is this close to snapping type shit. When she gets to sort of be unobserved, I feel like she's normal as fuck. Albeit killing people in response to everything being like that. Although I don't think she's really killing people in response to living under a corrupt government or whatever. She's just sort of killing people because she's Morgan. Everything is terrible. To kill 6 women who look like Emma Rockford about it. If they're nothing, if they represent nothing, I think she kills people because she can, hasn't been caught yet. Yeah. And they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to. Please make way. Officials are coming through. Please disperse. Keep walking, pigs! Fascists! Noble owns the cops! Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick? Prove them wrong? You know what I mean. We're the only people in the city trying to do some goddamn good, and they all just... That's just part of our job, detective. No offense, ma'am, but wearing a police badge earns you a little more hate than... They give prosecutors badges? I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open? This moral relativism... Hello! This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai. Breaking out breaking out the thesaurus on me? I'm only being realistic. And humble. I'm just one woman, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than 1% rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Do you tell that to your clients? No, but they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. The same deal applies to everyone who works for the state. The terms are stark, but the ink dried a long time ago, and we all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, so... We traded freedom for safety, individual rights for collective power. The state won, the citizens lost. The very least we can do is take their criticisms head on. Look, I don't have a problem with responsibilities of authority. Only with authority being challenged? But they treat us like we're the bad guys. Well, sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong. So if any given individual is too small to ever affect change, so if the public's gonna hate us no matter what we do, and if corporations and governments will trample over people the same regardless of their character, and if we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing, what do, Adonai? What the hell do we do? I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you'd think. In times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is... The only moral way to act is... do whatever it takes to win. Yay! Kiss, 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 kiss. Sorry. Taking a sip so I can sit on the screen for a little longer. Yeah, this music goes hard. Just gonna sit here for a little more. Yay! If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice. If power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul. Just fight with both barrels, and trust the opposition to do the same. Winner takes all. Hey, anyone notice the shadow/light? Sick beats Thierry. Dualism. This rocks. Yay! This is a sensible place to stop. I don't want to. I don't wanna. I just got hyped up. I just got hyped for Yuri. I just got hyped for Kakagurui. And I wanted to do some actual game mechanics. No, I don't have to stop here. I'm not obligated to do fucking anything. It can keep going. Gaysfield Memorial Hospital. Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. And the next time that Bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off. Chatty guy must have been due to go on break. When he tried and failed to find the witness's medical record, his datapad had the name blacked out. I did see that they have Caduceus Executive 3, more expensive than David's, which means they most likely... How did you do that? You need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing. That is not what I meant. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly? Well, I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us. Yes, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words, so little information. Of the Devil is Kakagurui Season 3, it's got a weird asshole with an eye patch and everything. I don't think you even gave him your name. Haven't you heard of the Golden Rule? Of course I have. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Wrong. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him, and he wanted to feel appreciated. Which meant he'd be eager to help, given the chance. Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know how another person wants to be treated? There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover. It'll always be a gamble. That is not a very comforting sentiment. Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it. How did you get good at it? Same as anything. Observation and practice. You must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So we proceed down the hall, bear left, look for the fourth door. I'm gonna open the one that says Morgue on it. Oh. Wait. Sorry. When did Persona 5 come out? I need to look this up in order for my joke to be correct. Chat, you're gonna have to wait a minute. Persona 5. There it is. Died 2016, born 2025. Welcome back to Itakemi. That's it, that's the joke. Oh my god, though, the centipede tattoos. Like, I wish that was me. Oh, it's not even a... Is it a modded arm? I can't tell. It looks like she's just got a claw, like, gauntlet on for no reason. Oh, hey! Come on in. Don't stand out there in the... cold wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. And you can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, medical examiner. Yumi Sato, born March 3rd, height 173 centimeters, blood type O negative, occupation, medical examiner, likes accessories, reality TV, palm reading, dislikes social media, dress codes, ebooks, loves to make new playlists, hates throughout old clothes. Most proud of my weekly meal prep. She's so normal. I wish it to be a part mod, not a whole arm replacement. I think it's modded, but it's also styling. Centipede tattoos rock. Yeah, I think that's just a Freak Morgan thing. I haven't noticed anyone else doing it, anyway. She's so normal. Hi, Sato. Dr. Sato! Just the lady I wanted to see. Though I didn't expect that I'd get to. The fact that I'd assigned a medical examiner and not some ad or junior means... Oh, you can just call me Yumi. And you're... Morgan. I represent the deceased. The deceased? Oh, the deceased. Assured D. Wait, really? That's, weird. I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people who... I know. Weird, right? Well, what the hell do I know? Was getting tired of hosting megs anyway. I gotta finish typing up this report before we talk shop. But in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. Yay! What's this? The hospital getting renamed? No, guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Hospital renamed to thank Ikaria family. cool. Just want to make sure I wasn't being blind. Hi, Sato. Hi. In a ribbon-cutting ceremony held uptown today, Plotter Memorial Hospital was formally renamed the Northeastern Ikaria Medical Complex in recognition of the family's incredibly generous donations over the last several years. It's the latest in a string of philanthropic efforts by the family to result in a name change, after they paid for the renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrofitting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena. But it wasn't so long ago that the Ikaria were better known for drawing blood than donating it. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had their business rivals going so far as to accuse them with involvement with organized crime. After the founding of Renogen Medical over 25 years ago, and its subsequent sale, the Ikaria have moved out of the business world and up into the upper echelons of society that are sometimes mockingly referred to as the Neobility, a generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-20th century and the Red Decade. When asked her opinion on those who'd labeled her family House Ikaria at the hospital's renaming ceremony, Renogen member Mireille Ikaria had this to say: "In this country, anyone can make a name for themselves, so long as they're willing to put in the work. Mock new money all you want, but the truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself, and the only ones uncomfortable with that are, we're working hard to print out the rest of your article character by character. It's tough work, but we'd be able to go about it a lot faster if you leave a tip. Want to drop your payment info in the jar?" The Ikaria, guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Now they're plastering their name wherever to get themselves, all the Neobility are eager to prop up their image wherever they can. Articles, click, return. Search terms, Neobility. Noun, derogatory slang for nouveau riche families. Slang term for the nouveau riche families that rose in the second half of the 21st century amid global economic turmoil. The name carries a negative connotation that is meant to criticize the way said families supposedly tell themselves as nobility, or even as a second estate that administers global power along the first, governments, and the third, corporations. Users also frequently search for, who are nobility families? How to marry into wealth? Define nouveau. But that must go double for the Ikarias, assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. That's a lot of screens. There's got to be diminishing returns on productivity. Why do you have so many monitors, ma'am? You can't just ask someone that. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do, so I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere and no one's ever corrected it, so boom, I get 4 new monitors every year. Do you run out of things to use them for? Sometimes, but this year I've started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing rote work, which helps. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do rote work? Let's use up the screens. I see. Adorable. She's so normal. I love how normal she is, like genuinely. Anything else in here I can look at before I have to examine a body? Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. I only meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. It suggests a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. Do you only examine bodies for the police, Doctor? Oh, I wish. Nah, most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance adjustments. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing, mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough. Families, as the company insurance plan, would pay for mods but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal bio batteries, suspected CCIC. CCIC? Climate change-induced complications. You can prove that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% on the life insurance payout? I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job, it's just so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskaters how to split the dead man's bill. It's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. she finishing up over there? Right, okay, so what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Oh, wow. Hi there. Cute android. I didn't really realize it was really cute. The skin, that's remarkable. Even just looking close, you can tell. They really are warm. Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way. The early gens all looked flush. Felt like they were always running a fever. And they felt like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted... Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for expediency. Right. So, what can I tell you? Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure. We got that much figured out, at least. Why doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Dr. Ashur died of respiratory failure. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like? Lightheadedness, followed by dizziness, then headaches, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally, respiratory arrest. Report shows that the EMTs tried intubation, then resuscitation through electrical stimulation repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation, but it was too late. And you're certain of all this? Oh, well, most of it, sweetie. Most of it? Yeah, it's turned into quite the puzzle, and I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I was surprised a man as rich as famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but his files show. Biomes, noun, slang for biomonitor. Biomonitor is a general use term for wearable technology or implanted pods that monitor and provide feedback on an individual's vital signs. Commonplace among the affluent as an additional layer of security, biome use is relatively rare among the middle class. Some sociologists and consumer trend analysts point to anxieties with the climate, pollution, and the stresses of modern life as to why adoption of biomonitors has met resistance with medium wage earners. If one's health is already assumed to be poor, constant knowledge of its status might be considered uncomfortable. Biomonitors are also frequently employed by incarceration, probation, and workplace health initiative programs. He wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. But he was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. We're very certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No injection sites? Nothing in any cavities? Nothing at all, huh? The police mentioned a tox screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a tox screen when he first arrived. Typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something, but the tox screen gave them nothing. A test performed on David Ashur when he arrived at Gatesfield Memorial Hospital to determine what, if any, illicit substances were in his body. Alcohol was the only item positively identified at the time. After he died, we performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. So, were you forced to conclude this was a natural death? I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples and compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history, and I managed to isolate a single, non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. I ran it through every available database we have access to. And even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. So, a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours, private sector folks? Yeah, in pharmaceuticals. If one of them patented a new compound, a new drug, what would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, find a use later? Yeah, a patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in, I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart. Using international IP law as your own personal minefield. How so? Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formulae so no one knows where it's safe to walk. Anybody small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago, and that you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger, they could punch back, but for the rest of the field... Wow, you corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now? So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance, something that the hospital could have easily identified, if it wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately that is a possibility. Still, just because a drug is new, that doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect that this compound had remind you of any other drug? Maybe one that's prescription only, or a controlled substance. One you might know by another name, but with a patented structure? Sorry, sweetheart, it's a general depressant. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they come in all shapes and sizes, from all kinds of places. If the effect was unremarkable, what about its strength? Could you estimate how much of this stuff he had in his body, all told? Not precisely, no, not without detailed knowledge on its half-life, but I guess that it must have been about 20 milligrams? Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for a medicine. So this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless then. No, not a 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system. Thank you, Yumi. Of course. So, lost consciousness at 8:03 p.m., declared dead at 8:25 p.m. in ICU, where doctor presiding. Cause of death, respiratory failure. Unknown substance detected in bloodstream, approximately 20 milligrams total. The loud, curling handwriting at the bottom of the document reads, "What the hell is TalkScreen? Send attending physicians back to med school. Send apologies to attending physicians. These things are a nightmare." You ready to view the body? We could skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay then, let's get started. Alright, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please. Thank you. The last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining, I remember that. It's the principle of the matter. Right, you ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake, and it came damaged, and you wanted to send it back for a refund. I gently reminded you how with your salary it was literally not worth your time, and I kindly offered to throw it out for you since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it, even though you were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one. I thought that he would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale, and he's very still. But his face is the same. His hair, his hands. You were expecting something more drastic? The last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled, and he told me he would see me soon. Now he is dead. Something is gone. And I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look harder. But I think I might just not be capable of it. And I wonder why. Why I was created to not be capable. Could be an issue of skill. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it's there. I guarantee it. I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, the distinction has significance. To the dead, at the very least. You're going to smoke? Here? Now? I'll pay the fine. That's not the issue. Were you expecting me to fall to pieces? Skill diff, bronze rank mourner. Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I'm a cold woman. Sorry to disappoint. The hell? Why the hell won't this thing light? Adonai, you have your cigarette backwards. Alright, that's back into cold storage for him, so... Need anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth. Let me just... It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen with hexagonal structures. So it's organic? But there's a number of metallic elements too. And if you had to speculate on its intended use, based on what we know of its structure, an unidentified substance found in the bloodstream of David Ashore after his death has many similarities to the chemical makeup of a depressant drug. No additional traces found anywhere at the crime scene or in David's penthouse. Well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binding to receptor pathways, affecting the balance of neurotransmitter reuptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. True. People are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much need to hit up the gray market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Hey, anything you need, give me a ring. Believe me, I would. That's very generous. Rockford's orders have got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend. Glad to hear it. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you, Greenie. My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. 2:13 p.m., July 1st, 2086. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under train lines. The buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory. National headquarters for the likes of Howe Industries, Lock Kwun, Tethys, Nath, each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodations beneath their skyscrapers' shadows. Whalefall. The entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, a towering nerve center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David and his work on Sarah. Answers I'd never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis. Relationships. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Where they let me walk, who they let me talk to. History. Their efforts at performative transparency and clumsy obfuscation will... How did you know my father? What? I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding? No. What did you ask? My father? I know you were his friend. But what was your relationship like? Can't you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media. And your online presence is... not significant. You saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. We went to the same college. You studied programming? No, I studied all kinds of different things in undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. David, though, he had talent and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, math, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you share then? Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he was the first. He was the one who asked the most questions. I'm not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burned. He'd come up to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly? The belle of the ball? You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for this tech course. There was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though, wanted to cram the rest of the night. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went and stole a study aid for him. You stole a controlled substance just to help him with studying? No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast, because the taste is so strong. You gave him a placebo. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. Taking a sip. Yay, sip. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. It didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes, just until it kicked in. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that Father stayed close with you after that. You stole, and lied to him. I stole and lied for him. And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess that's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year of grad school, he published this paper, The Turing Solution, a framework for programming adaptive linguistic heuristics. One of his advisors came up with that title. David thought it was way too cocky, but it still hasn't failed any known Turing test in the year since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend, asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What did you tell him? remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. And at the end of the conversation, he'd thank me, even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer, and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night. And whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. You're referring to his one-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously, they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put a down payment on my apartment, then made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So, is that enough detail for you? Thoroughly convinced that he and I were, in fact, friends? I am. But, Adonai, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That's private. Understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. We will be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell them that David's lawyer is here. 2:49 p.m., July 1st, 2086. Noble Electronics, Northeastern HQ. Sub-lobby A8. I've been here before. Sat right here in this lobby waiting for David to come and treat me to lunch. At least I think it was this lobby. It could have been some other floor. Could have been an entirely different building. All these corporate towers of Babel feel like interchangeable fractals to me, folding in on themselves in patterns of narcissistic paranoia. So monumental in the scale of their hubris, they needed to use non-Euclidean geometry when drawing up the blueprints. The greatest minds of each generation coming together, justifying the most expensive way to shove their heads up their asses. Adonai, is something bothering you? Just doing the math on how long we'll be kept waiting here. Apparently, someone will be here shortly. So maybe, if I pass the time by glaring around the place, it'll improve my mood. They changed the logo again. Noble Electronics. How's it feel stepping in here? Is this some kind of religious experience for you? It's just the corporation where my father worked. Careful now, or they'll burn you for heresy against the company. You said it again. The company. As if it's a proper noun. You're mimicking the employees, aren't you? So it can't obey simple orders, but it can pick up on that? Is it just a part of the corporate culture? Noble is one of the biggest corporations there is. One of the biggest there's ever been. We mere humans can't hope to escape the gravity of anything that size, no matter where you live or how far off the grid you think you are. So imagine what it's like working for them. You live in company dorms, work in company quarters. Wherever you go, that logo's above your head. You eat, sleep, and breathe on Noble's timetable at its discretion. When you spend your whole life inside of it, Noble must feel big enough to be the only company there is. To think this is only one room. This complex is so massive that it doesn't even feel man-made. It's like it was carved out of the rock by waves, like it's always been here. That's the con. If this place was actually natural, there'd be birds everywhere. I hadn't considered that. Why aren't there birds in here? Probably because of what they do to the ones that get in. I'm kidding. Though I don't have a better explanation. So much energy. So many people. Also, intent. You kidding? It's Saturday. The place is half empty. But doesn't everyone work on Saturdays? Well, the parents do, so they don't need to find childcare on Sunday. Everyone else flips a coin, I guess. All these people for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. What could they all possibly be doing? Making work for themselves. You can be very cynical, can't you? Yeah, I'm terrible. But that guy over there has just been jiggling his cursor for the last 20 seconds. Whoever comes to greet us better have a pulse and some goddamn authority. My mood's starting to sour, and if they just send me the first link in their infinite chain of corporate bureaucracy, I'll make them wish. Morgan? That's me. Hey there, Android Manufacturing Quality Control, Eastern Division. Evan Dawes. Evan Dawes. Born August 1st, height 109 centimeters, weight 78 kilograms, blood type A-. Occupation, Chief Supervisor, Android Manufacturing Quality Control. He looks scared and sad. Likes hammocks, calligraphy, pale ale. Dislikes first dates, conference calls, 5 o'clock shadow. Proud of his practiced handshake. Struggles with solving captchas. Hair starting to gray. Evan Dawes, he says. Like it's an afterthought. What's a name compared to your place in the hierarchy? You seem familiar. Have you... I'm David's lawyer. Oh, then we must have... Apologies. Let me first just say how sorry I am about his passing. You and everyone else at the company must be going through a lot right now. As if it's a proper noun. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. You're welcome, but it's no big deal. Everyone's on the razor today, but what else is new? And compared to PR or legal right now, our workloads in QA are... never mind. How can I assist you? Shortly before his passing, Dr. Ashore began the process of registering this android. Yes, that is correct. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the job. Look at that. It's definitely custom. Gee, you think? Good thing I sought out an expert. Warm, it goes without saying. Reminds me of the A16 Premiere, if anything. The barcode is clearly printed, no visible defects. But you're right, it doesn't correspond to anything we've got on file. Well, they sent you the right man for the job. Now we just need to go to the right place. Not far, I hope. It's in the building. In the building. That could mean anything from down the hall to half a day's hike. The production line on B9 should have everything we need. You do manufacturing inside your corporate headquarters? B9's a fully functional production floor, but it was only built for demonstrative purposes. New clients make deals upstairs about how many, in what shape or size, and then they come down to the basement to see how the sausage is made. They have enough money to build a fake factory just for guests? Smart. So, as long as you're only giving tours, and not giving away company secrets. No need to worry about that. We take intellectual security very seriously around here. No kidding. There are 11 cameras on us at the moment. That I can see. And who knows how many pairs of modded eyes are aimed our way. Clearly, nothing happens here without the almighty company knowing about it. So, if they try to claim ignorance about anything, it's gonna piss me off. Lead the way. 3:08 p.m., July 1st, 2086. Noble Electronics, Northeastern HQ. Basement floor 9. It really is fully furnished down here. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But it's pretty rare to get to see all this in person, you know? Would you mind terribly if I looked around for a moment? No problem. I got some prelim paperwork I need to handle anyway, so have at it. I better take full advantage. I'll need more than cursory knowledge if I want to figure out where Sarah came from and why David wanted me to take custody. I'm gonna look around. You stay put in the meantime. Adonai? Wouldn't want to lose you among the rest of the merchandise. What's being built out there? Our top-of-the-line, brand-new bestsellers, the Animate 16 Warm. Looks kind of cold out there. We keep the factory floor refrigerated. Slows the organics' already tuned metabolic activity to a minimum. That explains why the room doesn't smell like rotting flesh. The flesh out there is only somewhat rotting. Slowly. I just meant I'm surprised to see metal. Oh, well, all the A16s have alloy endoskeletons. The organics are layered on later in the process. Sounds like what Sarah told me about herself. Maybe she really was the A16's prototype. But it's hard to imagine bridging the gap between her and these scattered doll parts. I get that you can grow just about anything from Lax Gemini, but how do you get the synthetic and the organic to work together? Yeah, that was our first concern when R&D began work on the Warm concept. The 1.0s were real skin with synthetic muscle, and it was a horror show. Metal pulling on skin was just... right. For 2.0, they worked backwards. Organic muscles, organic skin, but digital signals on organic hardware was a dead end. Didn't the muscles flex when you passed an electric current through them? They'd flex and unflex, sure, but that's not nearly precise enough for facial expressions. Looked like puppets strung up on live wires. Reuse the test footage to haze interns, actually. You must have figured something out. The A16 would look out of place on the runway. Thank you. We try. We ended up reaching out to mod companies. Well, we actually just bought out half a dozen of them, but... right. They figured out how to get human nervous systems moving mechanical limbs decades ago. So, we just needed to get a mechanical nervous system to move... living limbs. Very clumsy attempt to avoid using the word human. High-precision mods are slotted straight into the nervous system. They receive their input from neurotransmitters, not bioelectricity. So you had to do the opposite. Exactly. We created a synthetic neurotransmitter that our androids could use to communicate with organic flesh. Where did that breakthrough come from? Dr. Ashore? Partly. He led the team that built the motor neurons in this analogy. They carry commands from the central nervous OS to individual muscles across the chassis. But the the synthetic analog serotonin, that was actually an old brainchild from the VP of Android Futures, Helen Young. Young? Hasn't Dr. David mentioned a Dr. Young before? Sounds impressive. She's one hell of a biochemist. Or she was, I guess. Not much time for individual lab work when you get to her kind of pay grade. So Young collaborated with David on the technology that enabled warm androids. As I thought, whatever made emphasis to Sarah that makes the androids so distinct, he couldn't have taken the sole credit for it. Young. Did he partner with her on this? This seems to share some components with that coffin Sarah was napping in. If DAWS does quality assurance, is it some kind of android calibration device? It's probably what he'll use to register Sarah. Looks a little... Is Sarah tall enough for it to recognize her? Feels like I've seen this before. That's right, there was one in David's lab. that. That's the nanograde elementary manufacturer. Nanofacturer, for short. Real high-quality piece of machinery, each of them built in-house by Randock Mechanics. What does it do? Nano-level flash fab. Flash fabrication, a method of manufacturing artificial microscopic compounds that utilizes parallel nesting to assemble billions of simple structures in minutes or even seconds. Nanomachines have been around for the better part of a century, but the time and resources required for their construction through traditional means was historically prohibitively expensive, limiting exploration of and investment in nanotech. In the years since flash fabrication's introduction, use of and demand for nanomachines has exploded, and scientists, doctors, and product designers have found brand new niches for them across every industry. Concerns about the ecological impact of this surge in nanomachine construction have been raised, although the official stance of the Nanolife Industrial Lobbying Group has remained unwavering. Nothing that small can possibly leave that big of an ecological footprint. Basically, a 3D printer for nanomachines. You built nanomachines in your factories for use in your androids? The raw materials are cheap, literally elementary, so no sense in getting them shipped in. It's mostly the medical models that make use of them. Inject a couple thousand nanites into a patient's bloodstream, run diagnostics, and provide a solution. A 3D printer for nanomachines. So what kind of ink does it use? Silicon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, building blocks. They feed into the nanoprinter and it assembles the machines particle by particle. Like a ribosome building structurally complex proteins out of chemically simple nucleic acids. It must be time consuming. You would think, but Randock cracked the code on parallel microfacturing. The inside's crystalline, sprawling like an ant's nest. The raw materials enter at one of the thousands of different entry points, combining and recombining at intersections. The finished product ends up at the center and drips out in a liquid solution. Distilled nectar, swimming with millions of nanites in just 2 minutes. Nectar? It's sticky? It can be, depending on the desired output, but the door vacuum seals while it's cooking, so don't worry. It's completely spill-proof. What a relief. Not exactly a box of paper clips David just brought home from the office one day. He must have bought his own, for some reason. A machine capable of assembling organic or inorganic compounds and even nanomachines after just 2 minutes of vacuum-sealed mixing. Found at Noble's factory show floor, machines just like it are used throughout the production process of making their warm androids. There's something out there that caught my eye when we came in. A very familiar shade of crimson. I squint through the glass. Out on the floor, there are temperature-controlled fluid tanks. Through glass and plastic flows an eye-catching scarlet that transitions into... So you add the blood towards the end. You mean the oxidant? Yeah, relatively late in the process. Something out of place? Androids have blood, even if it's not officially labeled as such, but it isn't red, it's pink. Sometimes milky, sometimes neon, occasionally garish, but pink. I just didn't think the oxidant would be red. Oh, right, sorry, I barely noticed it at this point. The color's natural, comes from the biomanufacturing process. That chromofuge out there removes the byproducts, the waste, the excess pigment. Manufacturing machinery that processes organic fluids used in the production of warm androids removes byproducts, impurities, and pigments from android blood, thereby changing its color from red to pink. Changing it from blood red to Psychopop pink. The color of my dialogue box label. Without that chromofuge, our android's flesh would come out looking all the wrong colors. That may be true. It probably isn't, but it may be. But I have a simpler explanation. Blood is primal. The sight of it carries weight. They change the color of their product's blood so that when an android gets a bottle broken against its face, no one bats an eye. An inhaler left out on a desk. Probably a half dozen empty ones in one of the drawers. Dawes, the inhalers, they're distributed by the company, correct? Oh, yeah. HR handles it. They personalize your dosage and prescription and update it based on performance and job fulfillment reviews. Other corporations do it the same way? Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's trying to keep pace with each other, so... Can't have your employees losing focus on the job. Could cost you who knows how much in lost efficiency. Sorry if this is insensitive, but given what happened to David, are overdoses common in the company? Yeah. Yeah, he says. Overdoses, that is, not hospitalizations. Or deaths. It's all pretty organized these days. These days? Man, back when I started in consulting, pretty much everyone had an embarrassing story from their first 2 years where they popped a few too many greens and missed the on-ramp. Popped greens? Yeah, it used to be pills. Green to get you going, yellow to keep you there, swallow red after brushing your teeth, and get into your bunk fast. But yeah, the inhalers were a huge improvement. Like going from torches to light bulb. They sync straight to your personal biomes and adjust dosage in real time. Overdoses are way down. And that's great to hear. The trannies under me don't realize how good they've got it. Kids probably won't even have to learn how to purge. But yeah, I know, right? What have we got on this datapad? Some kind of write-up? On the subject of Sullivan's Peak. Much of our world today, and in fact, much of our world's economy, is heavily influenced by the uncanny valley. The thought experiment provides a simple and easily applied explanation for the gaps we see in the otherwise wide spectrum of automated dependence that assist us in nearly every industry on the planet. There's a very simple, primal truth to it. We like things that resemble the living, like cartoons and puppets and toys, and we like things that are damn near indistinguishable from the living, like whatever name Noble's latest products are being sold under. But there are deep, deep trenches between those two ends, where products are universally appalling to human sensibility. The Uncanny Valley will no doubt remain a useful tool for teaching, marketing, and design for generations to come, but already we are seeing ways in which it fails. It is becoming increasingly clear to us that the space between nearly indistinguishable and truly indistinguishable is much wider than we ever suspected, and it may not be the only part of the map that we must fear. I propose we bridge these gaps in knowledge by looking to the speculative fiction of Robert J. Sullivan, who, in his most known work, Equal Under One Sky, described a concept which thereafter has been described called Sullivan's Peak. Through the lens of his characters and their so very divided world, Sullivan demonstrated that the Uncanny Valley does, in fact, have its own peak on the other side, a point past which making an artificial existence any more human in its features serves only to make the user experience more uncomfortable, more difficult, and more fraught with moral pitfalls. Once you reach Sullivan's Peak, traveling any further only has diminishing returns. The implications of this idea are far-reaching. We will very soon reach a point at which the designers of ads can only make their creations less lifelike or less likable, a hard stopping point for technological process. What then, we must ask? Oh, looks like you forgot to sign into this device. Drop your thumbprint below and we'll get you squared away so you can keep reading. Surprised to find reading material like that around here. Were they passing it around as a gag? Or are they actually afraid of Sullivan's Peak around here? Noble must be... The peak does exist. We'll be coming up on it fast now that androids are born. Noble's entire product line, maybe their entire industry, could go bottoms up if people start to think it's cruel. If Sarah's any indication of where their androids are headed, I could see some people getting uncomfortable. All done? You ready to get the ad handled? Thanks for humoring me. Can you have it step into the scanner? As he says. Understood. Right then, what are we looking at here? Whoa. There's a lot to unpack here. We theorized that it may have been Assure's pincushion. A pincushion, huh? What then? Advertisement. I like the implication that Morgan wears gloves so that no devices can pick up her fingerprints when she picks them up. Just thought about this. That would explain some of what I'm reading here. Its pronouns are she, her. What language is that on the screen? Tess. Tesseract, all Noble products, and pretty much all products, period, are programmed in Tess. Click on this article, so it leaves me alone. Tess, a programming language for modern automated dependence. Tesseract 4.6, better known as Tess, is the latest version of the Tesseract programming language. Built on top of the Tenet system and utilized in industries around the globe to code the software that allows androids, robots, holograms, and more to react to their environment intelligently and with intention. At the start of the century, there was a much greater variety in the number of programming languages available with which to code. Globalization, the standardization of industry procedures, and the gradual erasure of many spoken tongues, yikes, contributed to the loss of countless programming languages during the mid-21st century. Today, Tess is virtually unchallenged as the global lingua franca programming language. The study and teaching of other older programming languages is mostly done for recreation, hobby, or digital archaeology. Easy to read and write, stay compliant. Now, this model, what's it go by? Sarah. The Sarah model, it's got everything the 16th line has, that's for sure. Organic skin, hybrid muscles, advanced facial processing and emoting. But there's a lot crammed in here that's still in development. Like in the idea phases. Solar cell hair strands, decentralized redundant power, mental and physical overclocking with extended tolerances. Data storage is so large I can't... No, wow, he had to measure it using... Hell of a poker face. Wait, decryption and signal hijacking. That's... hacking? Essentially. Does that mean it could hack its own tenets? Tenet Supersystem, a programming framework underlying the development of all modern automated dependent software. Any and all contemporary supported programming languages are built upon the Tenet system, allowing users to designate a series of inviolable priorities for their code to pursue. Once added to a program, a tenet cannot be circumvented under any traditional circumstances, and even then, only if a tenet with a higher weight supersedes it. Tenets were first adopted in the field of computer science as a trio, 3 priorities that govern how preserving human life, obeying human commands, and avoiding damage to human property should be prioritized. Since then, the number of supported tenets has ballooned to 113, most of them requested by lobbyists in the insurance industry looking to better define relative financial value. Tenets are well known for increasing the decision time lag of programs. This, combined with their engineered inflexibility, have made it such that most programmers aim for a tenet limit below 30. Originally, the one tenet that could not be removed from any program was TNT_safety0, aka Tenet 0 or Tenet 1. Said tenet dictated that the following program could not produce outcomes that result in harm to a living person. After the decision reached in People versus Volston's defense contractors and the resulting widespread adoption of automated dependence in the military and security sectors, this is no longer required, though Tenet 0 may still be added to particularly benign and mundane software as a good luck charm, superstitious ritual, or joke. Oh, no, that's unthinkable. Literally, for an ad. For an ad to break its tenets would be like... you stepping into traffic, or dropping a baby. Even if you're physically capable of it, it's not something you would ever choose to do. Some people do walk into traffic. Psychotics, addicts, the mentally ill. Does that mean that there are androids? Well, no, there aren't crazy androids, so yeah. I guess my analogy doesn't hold up. That's okay. So, if it can't hack itself, but it was given the ability to hack other systems, the industry line is such a capability could be an option in certain emergency scenarios, breaking through the firewalls and encryption of surrounding electronics to broadcast directly to police or military channels. Speaking of military, this musculoskeletal setup is drastic. I've never seen this on a consumer model. Can you lift a car or something, Sarah? Most cars. It would depend on the center of gravity. Lady, this Sarah could wrestle a public disturbance walker and come out on top. Those stomping behemoths they bring on for riot suppression? And in terms of computational ability, the estimate says... that can't be right. Look, Dawes, I was actually hoping you could tell me something about the software or the metadata. Who worked on it, and when? Ah, right, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. The editing log's been purged. That doesn't sound very above the board. Sorry, I can't tell you anything about who worked on Sarah, or when. Any chance you can restore those logs? Not here, not with this machine. I need the computers that were actually used for programming this model. Any ideas where those would be? Sarah? I cannot answer that question with any accuracy. Had a feeling you might say that. Ads, right? Sorry, I can tell you that the code is unique. There's hints of the A16 in there, a few of the same conclusions, it's just... Dr. Ashur, or whoever, took very different paths to get there. So Sarah has even less in common. Sip. Sippy. So Sarah has even less in common with every other android on the inside. Sorry, didn't expect to hit a dead end here. Not at all. You've been very helpful. Can we still get the registration done? Yeah, no problem. We've got the software and forms all set up here. Occasionally, we let a new business partner bring one home fresh from the oven, you know? Oven? Gross. Alright, a few basic questions then. Who's going to be the official owner of this unit? She is. As it says, unless the will disagrees, it's my responsibility. Right then. You fine with the designation Sarah? We can set it to anything you like. Well, actually... Never mind. Sarah will do fine. Okay, this part's all standard. Civilian model, address, contact info I can get from your crumbs. Do you want to reset to factory defaults? Could clear up a lot of quirks. Not right now. The last thing then is the grading. I'm reading 23 tenants here, nothing too far out of the ordinary. 23? That's higher than I expected, talking with it. She seemed more malleable than that. Don't blame yourself. Guessing tenant count from outward appearances has become a crapshoot. Not like it used to be. It used to be they only had 3 tenants total, and every unit had to have them. Then came the first accidents, and the first lawsuits, and the hearings, and the legislature, and the demand for more tenants. A tenant making sure ads couldn't endanger the state. A tenant stating that ads wouldn't divulge private information without prior consent. There was a campaign calling for a tenant to weigh child and adult lives equally during risk assessment. There was a campaign calling for a tenant to do the opposite. Companies wanted their asses covered. Customers wanted guarantees. There was never much incentive to deny a requested tenant, so the list just ballooned. Until the military entered the market in full force. You sound like you don't approve. I wouldn't go that far. They needed their ads to be able to pull the trigger when ordered to. Without clearing 5,000 lines of bloated, hard-coded decision points to get there, I get that. But since the armies are the only ones using tech with bare minimum tenets, all the best, least cluttered, most elegant code is only used for war games. It's not very romantic. Well, not like I was on the jury. Department of Advanced Defense Projects versus Zenith Dynamics. The Supreme Court sided with the military's request and set a new precedent that every other army around the world would race to meet. Changing tenets from a mandated list at the root of every ad's source code to a choose-your-own checklist. It's funny, ads with the most tenets, they're so locked up you can't even have a conversation with them. And outside the armed forces, the only ads with single-digit tenet counts are just vacuuming floors. The most impressive ones, like what you got here, fall somewhere in the middle. Sorry, went on a tangent there. Only thing left is the evaluation. What gets evaluated? Total financial worth for insurance purposes. Yeah, the insurance companies made sure we had very accurate algorithms for this. No room for human error, they insisted, with no sense of irony. Wow. I mean, I knew it was custom, but what price could they have possibly... That's a lot of digits. You should know, these formulae are pretty conservative with their estimates. Stingy, even. If Sarah's really David's last and greatest work... They say some things are priceless, but when you force an insurance algorithm to pick a number... Evaluation of the android Sarah's financial value by an insurance algorithm. It is midnight. Yes, shush. It takes into account the fact that Sarah is the only known android made by David Assure, the last known piece of tech he worked on, the fact that he is now deceased and cannot create any more, the fact that Sarah is one of a kind, the value of her components used in your construction, the potential profits from the expendable saying there's totals to a very large sum. Just try not to get any scratches on it, I guess. You spoke differently back there. With Dawes. You spoke like he did, it seemed. The guy copied his accent. You seem to mirror his affect, his tone. It's called being friendly. What's your point? It was just an observation. You can choose to keep those to yourself, you know. No tenant required. Why were you so concerned about registering me in the first place, Adonai? For the same reason I wouldn't drive around in a car without a license plate. Any cop, or even just a well-placed camera, could have spotted your barcode and seen that it wasn't set up with any actual data. And then they would have arrested me, and then you would have thrown me in the slammer. No, they would have arrested me and put you in an evidence locker. An android can't get arrested? People get arrested. Property gets seized. And then smashed. Great, you put us over the weight limit. I did no such... Morgan, counselor, your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Who's asking? Vice President of Android Futures, Helen Young? Shouldn't have assumed I still had the opening move. Tell her I'll be right up. This elevator uses the scary noise sample in it. Sorry. Have a good night and stream, then I will enjoy watching the VOD tomorrow or maybe Friday. Good night. I'll redirect your elevator now. Taking control of your elevator is very convenient, forceful, as if Noble is trying to directly steer your investigation. If Noble wanted to shut me down, they wouldn't bother to be subtle. I suppose they could simply refuse to cooperate. Or just let the elevator drop. Hey! Okay. Now I'm gonna leave off. Again, I was hoping I would get to some gameplay, but that's okay. I ain't mad. Can't be mad. We got some investigation segments. It's like something. I like this lady. She's a lady. She looks like she's from the Star Wars. She does. Investigation segments ain't nothing. Good Morgan time in this one. A lot of good Morgan time here. Morgan being super normal. And a lot of good Sarah time also. So, I'm happy. Happy midnight. Okay. I probably, realistically, I'm not gonna stream on, maybe I'll stream on Sunday. I might stream on Sunday. Sunday, Wednesday isn't a usual schedule for me anymore. Tuesday, Saturday is probably a realistic schedule if I keep up. So, but, I'll think about it. Either Sunday or Tuesday will be the next that you see of me. Maybe I'll do Sunday and then Tuesday. Who's to say? I'm a little bit hungry to finish this game, so I would like to play it. Yeah. I should save before I forget. Save game. Save. Yes. One save slot. Keep them on their toes. Yeah. I'll decide. Depending on how much I do on Sunday. If I'm sitting at home doing nothing on Sunday, I'll probably stream. But if I'm not, then maybe I won't. Or maybe I will. Anyway, who knows? Never let them know your next move. Scream schedule. So, Sunday or Tuesday. More of the Devil. It's a good video game. It scratches the itch really well. All I'm doing these days is playing murder mystery visual novels, but I'm very happy to be here. It's so Ace Attorney. It's very finely tuned to scratch the exact itch that I want in my heart. So, more of that soon, or next week. I mean, next week anyway, but maybe sooner next week or maybe later. Regardless. Switching to stream elements. I'm gonna go to bed, and then when I wake up, I'm gonna play Limbus Company Nocturnal Sweeping. Let's fucking go. And then... who knows? My life is a mystery. So... furthermore... I'll see you later. Bye-bye. 3,